Hello Squirtles, it's Owen, and I am doing the dishes, and I invite you to join me as I try my best to work out like the emotions and like the kind of like almost I need to work out some amplifier emotions. And while working out these amplifier emotions, I'm going to touch on things like the power of sports, I guess, what sports mean, hyperbole, and like, I don't know, I'm not sure. What else? Okay, so what happened? Why the fuck what am I worked up about? I was just watching a guitar video as I began to do the dishes, and the topic of the guitar video was the Tweed Bassman, the 59 Tweed Bassman 4x10, and the title of the video was the greatest amplifier of all time. And I can't recall the person I can't recall the channel that was making the video. They seem very nice, and really, I've got no issues whatsoever with them personally. It's just what they said sort of sent me on a real spiral of like amp philosophy. So this is not like a directed at them, I guess. Okay, so we're in like the first like 15 seconds of this video, and then and the person was like, "Hey, look, 1959 Tweed 4x10 Bassman, greatest amplifier of all time, the Tom Brady of amplifiers," and I fucking lost it. That was just me going, no, 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 no. And very rarely will I be so moved by like a statement that I exhort myself out loud while nobody's home and to nobody in particular. And so I've turned on the camera to try and figure out extemporaneously why I had such a huge visceral reaction to that analogy. It has nothing to do with the Tweed Bassman. It's not that the person picked the wrong amplifier. I know that for sure. I couldn't give a shit about the Tweed Bassman. It's not that I couldn't give a shit about the Tweed Bassman. I just don't have like, you can make this video about any amplifier. It doesn't matter what the amplifier is. You can make this video about that's the beauty of saying blankety blankest in the world. In the world means nothing. Like it just means, it just is a statement that gives the speaker a, sort of like license to have their opinion. It is an imaginary podium of authority that anyone can claim to their purpose, that I guess because we're just not past that as a race of humans yet, we're all like, oh, well, this is a bold claim. This bold claim means something. Let's see what this person has to say. It's a beautiful rhetorical device. Some people use it to great effect. Are you ever in like gas stations and you see these like, like individually wrapped like fruit pies or something, and it says like world famous fruit pies. It's like, who? No, they're not. Like, I can't go to Bangladesh and be like, hey, have you heard of Aunt Carol's fruit pies? You know, Aunt Carol who's like not an actual person, but a character created by some manufacturing plant in like Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Like, you haven't heard of their fruit pies? They're world famous. Let me speak to the mayor of Bangladesh, because a great oversight has happened here. World famous means nothing. It hasn't meant anything for a long time. Which is fine, but it's still really fun to say. Like it was really, really fun when Lil Wayne declared himself the best rapper alive. That was a fucking blast. And it's really fun to say things like X amp is the best of all time. Or best in the world, or the best of like some imaginary bracket. There's no such thing as best. Anyway. So I'm not mad at the Tweed Bassman, and I'm not mad at the person who made this claim. What I was like, but the Tweed Bassman is the greatest amp of all time. It is the Tom Brady of amplifiers. I think the Tom Brady of amplifiers is what made me want to like jump out of the fucking window. Like, how I don't have opinions about NFL quarterbacks. I don't have opinions about the NFL. I don't have opinions about who deserves to sit on the top of the best of all time list for NFL quarterbacks. My reaction to the statement, the Tweed Bassman is the Tom Brady of amplifiers, has nothing to do with Tom Brady's has nothing to do with Tom Brady, like whether or not Tom Brady deserves the classification of best of all time. It has everything to do with how does Tom Brady exist as like a symbol in the United States? Like, what does Tom Brady mean, I think, is what I'm giving a shit about. And why the Tweed Bassman is the Tom Brady of amplifiers? Makes me want to jump out of the window, because Tom Brady doesn't mean anything. It's not because sports are insignificant. They're not. They're very significant. And it's not because Tom Brady's doing anything wrong as a person. It's like the attitude, like the position in which, like, the identity, the social and symbological position that famous sports characters inhabit in, like, our consciousness is important. And Tom Brady is an empty calorie. Rather, Tom Brady is fat-free yogurt, but he's the most successful fat-free yogurt of all time. Like, there is no nutritional value to Tom Brady, the symbol. Tom Brady is the accomplishment. I don't think Tom Brady has any, like, soul or substance beyond being the best quarterback of all time. I would contrast Tom Brady with the power of personality and soul of other NFL greats like Terrell Owens or Jim Brown or Joe Namath or the fucking Oakland Raiders of the 1970s or even Troy Aikman, for Christ's sakes. I mean, like all of those people were sports personalities, were cultural symbols. Who, Bo fucking Jackson, for sure. Neon Deion Sanders, absolutely. Fucking Gronk, all nobody wants to be Tom Brady. Nobody sees an interview with Tom Brady and goes, God damn it, I want to be Tom Brady. Nobody wants to be Tom Brady. You just want to be as successful as Tom Brady. Nobody sees Tom Brady do anything and thinks to themselves like, what the fucking drip on that guy. Right? God damn it, if I could just be, my life would be so different if I could be Tom Brady. Tom Brady as a consciousness, as a symbol is not aspirational from a personality standpoint. Nobody wants to get closer to Tom Brady, the human. You just want to get closer to Tom Brady, the successful person. I feel like Tom Brady is an idol of brand new Audi salesman. That Tom Brady is the people who are kind of measuring their worth and their aspirational goals against established benchmarks of success, which is fine. I'm not a fun ruiner. Do whatever you want, but that is not what lights my soul on fire at all. I think that Tom Brady doesn't exist in our symbological consciousness as a full human being. I don't, unlike somebody who's so cocky and sure of themselves, like a Calvin Johnson or the Troy Aikman of just God, America's heartland, I'm just fucking doing the best I can, and is even though that image is the fucking, I don't know, the Brooks and Dunn of symbols. It still has more nutritional value than Tom fucking Brady. And so to say this is the Tweed Bassman is the Tom Brady of amplifiers, regretfully relegates the 1959 Tweed Bassman to an empty calorie in the context of the analogy, which it's not. Rock and roll, real, true rock and roll with soul is not an empty calorie. The Tweed Bassman can't be an empty calorie. It's antithetic to what we the larger, I don't know, rock history folks or amplifier enthusiasts or what have you, you can't. The Tweed Bassman is it's full fucking saturated fat. It's full fat yogurt. It's real Mexican Coke with actual sugar. Like it is the real deal. It's so the real deal that it is it's the mother amp. Like it's the real deal. It is fucking Genesis verse 1 chapter 1 like for rock and roll. Like you don't have Marshall without the Tweed Bassman. Like as a company, you don't have like you don't have anything. You don't like it. You don't like it is nascent. Like it is like it's indivisible, like from rock and roll itself. Like it fucking matters. And it matters super hard. And I know the person making the analogy was just going on like the face value of like greatest amp of all time, greatest quarterback of all time, interchangeable. But I cannot get fucking on board with that. I don't have a problem with hyperbole. Hyperbole is great. Hyperbole makes us like gives us room to say things that are grand and reach and like kind of go beyond the provable. Hyperbole is an access like portal point to the mystical, and it's one of the only ones that we have left in like the capitalist first world right now. Hyperbole is important and it should be protected. But if you are going to use hyperbole, like in an analogy, it has to work, and not through malice, but through inattention and sloppiness. This person either raised Tom Brady to a symbological height that he absolutely does not occupy, nor will ever occupy, or /and sullied, dragged down the 59 Fender Tweed Bassman from its rarefied heights at the peak of Mount fucking Olympus and threw it in the dirt. Nay, threw it in the fucking soulless, fluorescent conference room where Tom Brady addressed the press after his 49th who the fuck cares Super Bowl win. The Tweed Bassman is not a token of like high achievement. It's it is a vehicle through which divinely inspired artists have obeyed the exhortations of their soul. Now my kitchen's clean.